In the pre-production process, the crew that you bring on are essential to your success. Crews, I mean, this could be a course um, unto itself, really, this entire topic of finding the right crew for the right job, how you treat the crew, how you communicate with the crew, the kind of flexibility you give the crew. There's so many different areas we could go into here. But for our purposes here in pre-production, we're going to focus on when you put in your recommendations for crew, how you do that, how you manage when you might not get the crew that you're after, or that crew might be busy, or even identifying which crew you're going to need. So for us, let's focus on when you're going to want to do this. And you guessed it, by now you should have already realized that you're going to want to do this as early as possible. As soon as you see the treatment, as soon as you have those initial conversations, as soon as you know some of the dates or what's involved, you should be reaching out to the crew that you know in that area where you're shooting. Where, if it's a travel job, if you're going to have the possibility to bring people with you, judging on the production company, the size, the budget, all those things, you should be already thinking, who can I get? Because the crew is so important to the final result, right? There are so many variables involved, from lighting to grip to camera, that you need to get trusted people. And if you don't have trusted people, you should be reaching out to other cinematographers whose work that you like, saying, establishing relationships and asking them who they used. Because that's one thing that cinematographers definitely don't mind sharing crew, because they know that if they keep their crews happy, they're going to continue to work for them. And if they recommend them to other cinematographers, that means they're going to work more, which is good for them, because it all comes back to be positive for the people that do that establish those connections. So reach out to cinematographers if you don't know crew. Ask who the experienced people are. Ask where you can find those people. If they're multiple levels above you, ask if they've got, an understudy. Ask if they've got a best boy that would come along, or whoever it is, some sort of assistant that could help out on smaller things. But reaching out to crew it's a two-pronged strategy. One, you should be reaching out on your own, 100%. As soon as you know the criteria involved with the job, as soon as you know the expectations, you should be reaching out. That does a number of things. But the other side is that you should be telling the production company, the producer, the line producer, the production manager, who's ever in charge of booking the crew and looking after them. You should be leading with your recommendations, saying, these are the people that I normally like to work with. It happens every single job. So you're not wasting your time. This will save you. If you come up with this list and you come up with this email, it will save you time and time again, because you only have to do it once. Then once you have those recommendations, you can just send them through immediately as soon as you get signed on for a job. This is who I would like. This is who I would like to bring on. At the same time, as I say, you should be reaching out to that crew personally, saying, I have these jobs coming up. Because if they know that, and you are one of their regulars that they often work with, they'll appreciate that. They'll try and make room in their schedule for you. If they can't make room in their schedule, they'll do exactly what a good cinematographer will do, in that they'll recommend colleagues that they trust. And now a recommendation is so much better than just going out on your own, or getting a recommendation from a production company of people that they've used in the past. Because, let's be honest, some production companies, they haven't had the best work ever, and you're trying to be there and elevate the project. So you may not want to work with the individuals that they've worked with in the past. And this is a tricky one, because a lot of the times production companies will have relationships with key crew members, like your gaffers or your key grips that provide a lot of the equipment. And if they give them regular work, well, now you're walking into a situation where your hand might be forced. So those crew questions, get them sorted out as fast as possible. And then reach out to the crew that you know. Tell them you've got these jobs coming up. Tell them what's expected. And that can only benefit you on that job, but also in the future. If you establish this as a pattern, then the crews will know when they're going to be busy, when they're not going to be busy, when perhaps you can call in a favor and say, we've done these last 4 commercials that I've reached out to you. I've personally recommended you for the job. You got the job. You got paid. I got paid. We all had fun. Now we've done that 3 or 4 times on these toothpaste ads. Now we've got this short film with this up-and-coming director, or we've got this music video that I'd like to do. Can we help each other out? And they're always going to be, you are their source of income. Your recommendations, you are the person that is interviewing them and hiring them. And if we can just focus on that for a second, really the 3 recommendations that you are making inside of your team are the gaffer, the grip, the key grip, and the first AC. Those are really the 3 key hires that you have. Sometimes it'll be the DIT as well, if you once you level up to a project high enough that there will be a DIT on. But generally, that's the people that you look after. And then those three individuals, they look after their own crew. So you're not thinking about, okay, who's going to be the third electrics? Who should we bring on? No, that's up to the gaffer. You leave it up to them to decide those things. Same with the grip. You're worried about who the key grip is because that's the person that you're going to be dealing with. That's the person you're going to have the most conversation with, and that's the person who, much like the director looks to you when there is a problem with the visuals or there's an element with the visuals they have questions on, you're going to be going to your keys. You're going to be looking to them to say, help me solve this problem as fast as we can. Help me understand what's going on. You're not going to be dealing with those people far down the line, again, depending on the size of the production. So once you come up with those three key hires, get them into the production as fast as you can. And sometimes, the reality is, sometimes you're going to have to sell them to the production. And that's when you have to be confident in the results. You should always be looking for crew members who are ahead of you, who are doing bigger things, but who understand what you're after and what you want. And then it comes back to, once you get those hires across the line, once you get those crew members on board, how you communicate and what you send them through. I won't send treatments through to the crew members. They don't need to know all of that information. They only need to know the things that pertain to their departments, right? So camera, what are we using? What lenses? What am I thinking? What filters we might need? What media we might need? If I know some things already involving the schedule, like is it going to be a run and gun thing? We might need more batteries. If we need more media, more whatever it is, I'm already thinking these things up and going, because these questions will come up time and time again where, again, you may not have the answer, but you don't need to know the answer. It comes down to the confidence that you infuse in the people that are asking that you can get the answers. And quality crew can deliver those answers in pre-production, and then they can deliver the results on the day. But you should be looking for the same values that you have when it comes to pre-production: quick response, easy to access, thorough, not bringing you problems that you shouldn't know about. You should be looking for crew that exemplify those same values. So gaffer, you want to know, it's up to you really how prescriptive you get in things. And maybe when you're working with some crews, you can be less prescriptive and trust in the person more. With one key grip versus another, you may have to be, again, you just might say, well, we definitely want this here and that here and this dolly. Other times you may be a little bit looser, but you need to come up with your own system for how you're going to communicate that, because the more that you can tell them ahead of time, the more problems you can solve before you get on set, the more beneficial it's going to be. But just know that from the production side of things, there may already be relationships there. And sometimes you're just going to have to go, you know what, it's just easier to go with whoever they've recommended, or I have to because I'm working in a new city. And, just try and get that crew situation sorted as quick as you can, because nothing worse than delaying on crew than not being able to get the people that you're after. And nothing will set you up for substandard results faster than working with crew that are not great or don't support you in the way that you need support during a project, right? Because every cinematographer is different. And there is an element of getting to know everyone and getting to know the rhythm. Even if you're in command on set and you know exactly what you want and what you're after, if the people around you aren't familiar with that, it's going to be a very, very upsetting process. It's going to be slow. It's going to be hard. It's going to seem like much more work than it should have been. So get the crew ticked off as soon as you can, notify them as quick as you can, and start to use them and their knowledge to make you look better by answering questions that come up, by solving problems that you anticipate as well as that production will send through. The more clarity you can get in the pre-production process, the easier the results are going to be on the day.